Got it.
Okay.
Check. The official recording of the webinar for painted utility boxes, August 2nd, 2022.
I am going to let everybody in.
Okay, there are 3 people. Good morning, everyone. We're just going to give it a few moments, let everyone get into the room, and then we will kick things off. Looks like Brandon is having trouble joining. All right, well, shall we get started? As you may have gotten an email about this already, but if there are any questions along the way, please utilize the chat function, and we will be checking that periodically, and I'll try to get as many questions. And of course, we'll also leave a little bit of time open at the end for additional questions. We will be, of course, recording this so that if there are any additional questions that come up, or if anyone else would like to refer this to anyone still interested in submitting, we would welcome you to share it. So thanks so much for joining. This is the Painted Utility Box Project, aka the Pub Project. We so named it because there are so many breweries in Roswell that we thought it'd be wonderful to do a pub crawl, and we could take people to different painted utility boxes along the way. The purpose of today's discussion, or really presentation, is to walk through what it is this call is, the process to submit, a little bit about the city of Roswell for those that are not familiar, about RAF, Roswell Arts Fund, our organization, and kind of all the questions in between. So to kick it off, my name is Elan Buchen. I'm the program director for Roswell Arts Fund. I am joined without face by my colleague, Becky Kyle, our marketing director. And we're the team that will be managing you through this process. So you've heard of painted utility boxes before, I have no doubt. You've heard of these kinds of initiatives. So we'll walk through kind of what makes it a little different, and why this one's really exciting, certainly for us, as well as the process. So Roswell itself, and I'm gonna stop my share so I can share these pictures here. Roswell itself is a very unique community. You all should see a map here on your screen. We are located north of Atlanta, this large circle 285, often lovingly referred to as ITP, OTP. So we are inside the perimeter, outside the perimeter of Atlanta. So Roswell is an outside the perimeter, and the population is about 100,000. It is the 8th largest city in the state of Georgia. Very diverse community with all kinds of characteristics we will get into. It's a really fascinating community that has a history of being what's called a bedroom community. And by that, I mean, historically, it was a place where a lot of people wanted to live and not as many went to work. And that is now really changing. So there's a lot of new development, investment, growth, work, economic development coming in, the diversity is increasing, and we're at a very exciting time for this city of Roswell. Let's go keyboard. So here's a little bit of a closer view. It's a very odd little shape. As you might see, this is one of the reasons among many why we didn't disclose the 10 utility box locations, because we want to create an experience that tries to really have a unique hit, a diaspora of the units across the city. But Georgia 400 north goes through the city. Here's 19. And then the border is the river. So the river itself, the Chattahoochee River, runs the southern border. Very typically, when people refer to Roswell, they're referring to one of two areas. They either mean the river or they mean downtown Roswell proper, the historic district. So this community is sometimes referred to as a river community or a historic community. There are some gorgeous historic properties and some old homes with a very rich and wild history that I encourage you to research in the various historic homes in Roswell. But this gives you an idea of sort of the footprint that we're dealing with, the scale. We're nestled just south of Alpharetta, northwest of Conyers. So it's this very interesting little nugget here. As I'd mentioned, it is kind of a beautiful historically rich area. This is from the old mill machine shop over Vickery Creek Falls. It is a very vibrant and incredibly popular mountain biking destination, which I had no idea, and I'm just integrating now into the programming for the future. Again, it becomes a destination. These historic properties, a lot of weddings end up coming to Roswell, and we have a lot of exciting development with hotels like Southern Post coming online in the next few years. It is known as a place that is very family friendly, outdoor friendly, festival friendly, and it's a community that is extremely loving of its outdoor public spaces, as well as its festival grounds. Canton Street is, of course, known for its restaurants, bars, galleries, and the river itself is an ever-present asset. So Roswell itself, why we kind of have this excitement around this project is all of these pictures, they're almost like the sizzle reel as to what Roswell has to offer. But what the arts really provide is a connection between all these different assets and resources and a celebration of the culture. So some of the things that you don't see in these images are, there's also, of course, strip malls, there are wide roads, there are a number of street poles, there's a lot of additional congestion and parts of life in progress that we do also still want to feature and celebrate. And so, for example, some of you may be aware, we had a test project of the painted utility boxes last year. So this was a piece that we completed with volunteers. Christina Kwan was the artist that completed this utility box. It's on the corner of Canton and Woodstock. And this box proved to the elected officials and the local government that this was a viable project. And this was a phenomenal success, really built on the backs of volunteers, and showed that we could really substantiate an ask like we did this year for funding for this project. So Roswell Arts Fund is the entity kind of leading this charge, and a little bit about that organization. So Roswell Arts Fund, RAF is often how we are known to the community. We're an independent 501c3 established in 2014. In 2015, it was named the designated arts agency for the city of Roswell. Informed by the cultural master plan, Imagine Roswell, Arts and Culture 2030, and the public art master plan, RAF has changed the conversation about public art in the city, strengthening its scope and advocating its ability to ignite the imagination, inspire dialogue, and impact social change and economic growth. We are dedicated to serving community through the arts. and helping the city of Roswell to thrive as a cultural destination. In partnership with the city, RAF leads the implementation of public art initiatives as defined in the Public Art Master Plan. And within each project, we are committed to supporting local artists, introducing nationally recognized work to our residents and visitors, and offering access and opportunity for everyone to enjoy the arts. Through all of this, RAF aims to demonstrate that art has a place in everyday aspect of life. Additionally, RAF is focused on building our local partnerships to enhance and expand current programs, reach a larger and more diverse population, and strengthen sustainability. As always, our objective is to produce high quality, accessible, public and performing arts integrated into the city of Roswell's infrastructure. The key word here today being infrastructure. So what is this particular call and why is it different? That is something that I think a lot of people are wondering, because everyone's kind of seen these kinds of calls already. Let me see if I can pull up the images I had scheduled for this. So we have a charge from the city of Roswell. The main difference is that we are putting this forward as part of a package for this year. And there are 5 projects that the city of Roswell asked us to produce. Let me see, images I had all ready to go and they're not around. Bear with me one moment. Oh, that's why I'm looking for it in a PowerPoint. Silly me. So let's try this again, shall we? So Roswell Arts Fund was approached by the mayor and city council to implement the public art master plan. They wanted, within 4 years, what is our vision for implementing as much as we could for the public art master plan? We proposed 5 new works for year 1, and all 5 of these works will be kicking off this year. The 2 projects that are live right now, Roswell in Print and the Painted Utility Box project, are the first 2 of those 5. So those include art around Roswell, Roswell in Print, Painted Utility Box, gateways, and corridors. And for some of those that that are new and are unfamiliar with those projects, that's perfectly acceptable because they are still being rolled out. So what makes all of this unique is this one project, Painted Utility Boxes, is among 5 large-scale projects, all taking on the city of Roswell, all happening within the same year, all a part of this giant excitement around a reinvestment in the arts. So Painted Utility Boxes is part of this first foray into painted infrastructure. The idea being that we're not just painting utility boxes over in time, but we hope to extend that to manifold covers, pipes and poles, all manner of infrastructure in the years to come, and really embrace and have further dialogue about what these sort of objects of progress can look like. These pieces that are typically associated with blight or ugliness, that they're just these drab green boxes, can really become a source of embracing the community, loving this spot, and showing what more can be. So what we're looking at here is the timeline. This is a very rough version, but it gives you an idea of kind of how these projects are going to be overlapping. So Roswell in print is live right now, as well as painted utility boxes. These projects are in the procurement phase and the selection phase. And then on August 22nd, you can see even these dates, these will shift slightly, is when it will close and we'll enter into this implementation period. And then we go on to the exhibition itself. So all of these exhibits will be kicking off within this season and all coinciding together. And that's something unique. Usually each of a public art exhibit happens in a silo. It typically happens as part of an overall plan, but not necessarily working in conjunction with each other towards a greater whole. And that's the goal here, is that all of these projects actually overlap, work with each other, reinforce, which is why for painted utility boxes, for example, we will be launching it from our fall festival, which happens September 24th. So all of the selected artists for this will be invited to our fall festival, go to that festival, we celebrate, we kick off, and from that event, you go forth and begin your painting in the field and cover the city in art. Becomes a great platform and a kickoff place for both this Roswell in print of launching this great initiative. So let me see. So let's walk through the call itself. So the call is available on Cafe, Call for Artists. We're going to walk through that together as well. And then in addition, it's also here available in a PDF format, downloadable from our website, as well as maybe found through any of our partners. This gives an overview of what kind of a project this is, the dates involved. We are selecting 10 utility boxes. We'll be selecting 10 teams or artists for this process and some of its requirements. Each of these boxes or artists or teams will receive a $2,000 stipend, typically done in a 70% upfront and 30% upon completion. This may be amended to have a small amount out of that 70 for sketches for the final work, and then the rest of the 70% upon approval of sketch. We are also planning on having a sponsor or sponsors working and helping with priming and prepping the boxes. However, for planning and budgetary purposes for you all, please expect to prime and prep the box within your budget. If we don't end up needing that, fantastic. We did just secure a sponsorship with the Atlanta Tool Bank. All of their resources will be available to you all as part of that partnership. And what that will mean are anything from roller cages to drop cloths to a number of consumables, rollers, paintbrushes, tapes, so forth would be available to you all for no cost. So that's a really phenomenal partnership we look forward to rolling out. And any other way that we can help mitigate the costs for you all is something we are very much pursuing and interested in. This does highlight a little bit about the history of Roswell. For those that don't know, Visit Roswell. This is the CVB or Convention Center Visitors Bureau version for Roswell. I highly recommend you guys check that out to learn a little bit more about Roswell's culture and history. That's visitroswellga.com. And we have gone over a little bit of the painted utility box objectives and transforming this infrastructure into works of art. So the length of the project, after the works are up and finished and painted, we hope they will be up for 1 to 2 years at least. I can't commit to a further timeline because we do not know how they will weather and do over time. Different boxes may be affected differently depending on weather, maintenance constraints, and so forth. You never know when a box just might need to be replaced or maintenance needs to go in. Some common questions I receive are we able to paint Georgia Power boxes, or are they only City of Roswell boxes? At this time, they're only City of Roswell owned boxes, but believe me, we are not lacking for options. There's more than 50 boxes out there that are being maintained by City of Roswell, and those are all viable. So submission details. Oh, sorry, I should back up and do the selection process. So we do convene a selection panel. They are going to be scoring the submissions based upon the evaluation criteria submitted here. The panel is comprised of artist experts, volunteers, community members, all manner of walks of life from the Roswell community, but we produce a small, powerful group, extremely qualified, and we spend a day going through everything, talking through everything in detail. If you guys have more questions about the selection process or the panel process, I'm happy to take those questions. But suffice to say, we do not do, for example, a set time limit per submission. My rule is we spend as much time with each submission as is required to understand the full scope of the submission. And that's something that, we take very seriously. Similarly, we, of course, encourage local participation in a very big way, and we really look forward to featuring and having local artists participate wherever possible. So the artist and artwork eligibility, this call is open to all artists and artist teams with experience painting. Applicants may be under 18 if a parent or legal guardian will execute contract on their behalf. For non-local or regional artists that apply, there is no travel compensation. Artists are not required to have public art or mural experience, but it is highly encouraged as all painting is on-site, outdoors, and accessible to the public. You will be painting direct to surface. There's no application of panels, mosaics in this project or anything like that. All artwork must be created appropriate for all ages. My rule is 80 to 8. So if an 8-year-old can approach that work or an 80-year-old can approach that work, it's got to work for everyone. So that means no nudity, no violence, no profanity, things of that nature. Artists and teams will be selected based on their quality of work and experience. So a common question I do receive is, what kind of images should I be submitting? My answer to that is submit pictures which most closely represent the images and styles that you will be producing on the work. So even if that isn't necessarily your best work, if that's the style and direction that you will be painting for the project, that's what you submit. So if you're a woodworker and you do phenomenal woodwork, but you're applying to this project, you'll still want to be submitting the painting work that you do, the images of a style that you will be utilizing for this project, so that the panel has a good idea of what to expect. So this is the evaluation criteria. Again, the panel uses this exact metric when determining your works. Does the artwork present high artistic merit? Is it artistically engaging and stimulating? Will it be appreciated by the public? Again, that 8 to 80 rule. Do examples of work submitted support the artistic merit / quality of the painted utility box project? Meaning, you are submitting, again, if you are a master craftsman, but you are submitting paintings, you may see the resume or CV, and the quality of that CV is very impressive, but the images have to support the quality shown in the CV. The feasibility, does the artist have the experience to execute the work? So that's where, again, mural experience is not required, it is encouraged. Anywhere that you are sharing works, if you're doing paintings, if your paintings are all very, very, very small, that is problematic because we want to know that you can work in a larger scale, anything of that nature. Submission requirements. Applications must be received no later than August 22nd, 2022. We are taking electronic submissions through Cafe. You're also taking mailed submissions if you so choose. Hard copy mailed submissions must be on 8.5 by 11 paper and received at this address by August 22nd, not postmarked, received by. And email submissions, if you have any questions, comments, additional images, emailing a separate submission, so forth, you may email them directly to me, Elan at roswellartsfund.org. Of course, you can contact me for anything and above. These submissions will serve as an agreement to the condition herein stated for exhibiting in the painted utility box project. What that means is, once you submit those images to us, we obviously can't claim those images as our own, but we can use them for data gathering. We can use them in citing examples from submissions and so forth. We do respect your privacy. We'd never disclose any information in that regard, but we do want to utilize everything we can to make it easier for future submissions and questions answered for anyone in calls to come. So Submissions must include the following: artist team, contact info, full name, address, email, and phone number, including any professional websites. An artist statement, a description of your work and how you approach painting, 500-word max. Artwork and details. Each artist may submit a maximum of 5 artworks for consideration. If submitting online, submit to cafeforentry.org. This is free, by the way, and our call is free. Image list that corresponds to each image included, including details of each artwork, at minimum title, material types used in fabrication, and dimensions, height, width, and depth. A resume or CV, 2-page maximum PDF or doc. And artists are required to complete a demographic survey to be considered. And here's a link to our demographic survey. The reason we have to collect that, and in the past we've done volunteer-based demographic surveys, but our grantors, those that are giving us money to which dispersed to artists, need that information. And they've become more and more strict in terms of the utilization and need for those demographics. And that helps us secure the funding to be able to implement these works. So your name, anything of that nature is never used or communicated with those survey findings. But we do need the information so that we can represent fairly and design programming that best suits the communities that are using the programs, if that makes sense. If applying as an artist team, please designate one team member as the primary contact and provide complete contact information for that person. My recommendation with any team is typically in any artist group or team, there is one person that is the dotting I, crossing T person. They're always on it. They've kind of got, always got their stuff together. And we recommend that person be your main contact person. And then this gives a timeline that we can expect. So we launched it in July, August 2nd. Today, we're doing this online workshop together. And then August 26th is when we'll do a confirmation, artist notification. August 22nd is the deadline. So 26th, that Friday, we'll be sending out confirmation of interest participation. And then September, we'll be finalizing those locations, getting those themes down, getting sketches from y'all. September 24th, we're all at the concert together. We kick it off. And then from September 24th to August 8th is all the painting fun in the field. So I'm now going to go over to Cafe and show y'all what that looks like. If you guys aren't familiar with Cafe or haven't used a similar service, it's really a great tool for all of you. It is free. Callsforentry.org. You should all see my website open here. When you first go to this website, you are all going to be applying as artists. You'll click on artist. It'll take you to account creation login screen. I created this just for this purpose. And then when you're first in, you will see a dashboard similar to this. You will create your profile, your portfolio. You only have to create once with all manner of works. You can see you can upload a maximum of 100 images, 6 audio, 6 video links, so forth. You'll create your portfolio and you can apply to any calls, ours and others. I'm a big fan of the fact that if you create it for this call, you can then utilize it to apply to any number of calls you find. And so then you would go to apply to calls. And you can limit this by national, international, regional, you can use any manner. The fastest way to find us is call listings. You can look up Roswell Arts Fund. And there we are, haha, painted utility boxes, first one. And the other one that is open now is Roswell in print. So we go here, gives us some basic details. We go to more info. And here's our lovely call here. Again, budget, the images, all of that. Same text from the call that we walked through together. Once you're interested, you'd click on apply now. The agreement, again, all stuff's from the same call, click agree. And here's where you'd answer the questions. So this is just as stipulated in the previous call. These are text boxes that you'd fill out. Artist team info, artist statement, upload your resume CV, a listing of your images in a text box. Then you'd go straight to your choose your work samples from your portfolio. It would be pulled in, save your application and submit it. And that's it. And then it goes through, you get a confirmation email. and you're all good to go. And of course, I also accept any emails. So I get emails all the time with people saying, hey, I looked this up. What about this? What about that? By all means, please feel free. So before we get further, let me answer some typical FAQ questions. So one of the most common questions I get is what types of paint, right? That's a critical. For this one, it's going to be acrylic or latex based. And the reason we're doing plastics on this is because the bonding primers that we can use, the longevity under UV constraints, and also the cost factor are all really attractive. So acrylic or latex. That means you can use your Montana spray paints. It means you can use any kind of acrylic from the tube, latex from the can. Crink will work fine with it if you're familiar with crink markers and all that. Anything that sticks to plastic will work great. When will painting start? Again, that will kick off from September 24th at the Boku Jazz and Blues Festival. All of you will be invited for free to attend and join. Do I submit previous work or proposed new works? And you are submitting previous works for this. This is what's called an RFQ, meaning request for qualifications. It is not a request for proposals, meaning what will you be showing? The reason we've done this is because we recognize that when we select the 10 boxes, each box may have its own stylistic constraints, theming constraints. It may need its own different attention. And so we wanted to make sure we picked the group of artists that were the right styles, the right qualifications to do the work. We'll then work with you, get the sketches finalized, get the theming together for each box, and then you go. It is for that reason that I say out of that 70% of your initial check, I'll probably carve out a small amount for sketches, and it's going to be that amount of money you'll receive so that you can produce that sketch, get it approved. But I don't want you to be doing that work without having a contract in place and without having been compensated for that sketch work. Okay, how will payment work with sketches? Just talked about that. Oh, I'm on a team. Do we show all of our works or just one person's works? How do we divide it among five images? It's a good question. I do want to see works from all of your members that will be participating in the project. My rule is pick your 5 best that you think represent the works that you want to present, the styles you want to promote from your team. That might mean 3 from one of you, 2 from another. That might mean works you've worked on together. You'll have to figure out and wrestle with the top 5 that you want to submit. The reason I'm keeping the number of images to 5 as a max is because I really believe that 5 images will show you what style you can expect them to produce in their next work, whether it be a team, a collective, or an individual artist. If you want to share additional images beyond that, you're welcome to email them to me. But for going to panel, they'll be keeping to a maximum of 5. What is the size of a utility box? The typical size for a utility box is 4 feet, 7 inches tall, 3 feet, 2.5 inches wide, and 2 feet, 2 inches deep. But that is not a standard size. That's an average. So each box is going to be just a little different or have different facets to it and different qualities. But you can anticipate it being roughly 4 feet, 7 inches tall, 3 feet, 2.5 inches wide, and 2 feet, 2 inches deep. And then the last common question I get is, do I paint all the sides of the box, one sides? Do I have to paint the top and so forth? The answer is yes, you have to paint the top. Yes, you are painting all sides. We do want it to be comprehensive because it's about transforming the piece itself. So you're not creating a format or a picture plane, but you are transforming the piece. And that changes the way we think about it as an object, and it changes the way we think about its role in the community. So it's very important that we paint all of the pieces. So that is all I had planned for this morning. I would welcome any questions through chat or anything else that is unclear, and we will remain on for additional questions. How many utility box projects are available? So we have 10 boxes as part of this call. So 10 unique boxes will be painted. Next year, we will see, based on the successes of this project, how many more boxes, how much larger, how many other types of infrastructure we can bring in. In this initial wave, it's going to be 10 boxes. It's a good question. You will not be doing a clear coat. That is a very good question. So I've been wrestling back and forth. Here are the reasons why not doing a clear coat. It mainly pertains to maintenance and the next stage of the painting itself. So let's say, for example, you do a clear coat, which will protect it from graffiti if there's any kind of tagging, which thank goodness in Roswell we don't have things of that nature, but also UV protection, things of that nature. The reason we don't clear coat these pieces is because if something does need to be repainted, or if there is maintenance required on a box that will require touch up, or in the years to come that it will have to be repainted in total, the clear coat presents a real challenge and a barrier to taking it off in between stages. So when you have to then either sandblast it or go back and really heavy duty sand it to get rid of that clear coat so you can then do a patch, or you have to do a repair job on it, which means you have to come back and sand the area and then do a match to fix it. It becomes really problematic. So we aren't doing a clear coat on these particular pieces. It also puts an additional burden on all of you to do a clear coat. If something does manifest and there's a reason for us to do a clear coat, we'll investigate it. But right now, it's going to be the latex and acrylic will be its final top coat. Also a very good question. Any other questions? Yes. Good question also from Elaine. Is the end date of October 8th flexible in case of weather delays? Absolutely. We wanted to pick something that was feasible, but in the event we hit some string of 5 to 8 days of rain or dampness, absolutely it is very reasonable. We are working outdoors. We recognize that as a reality, and we factor that accordingly. So by no means will you be expected to paint rain or shine. October 8th is most certainly a weather flexible situation. My rule is typically that it would take, depending on the level of detail, of course, but 2 weeks is a very healthy amount of time to paint something like this. And we are thankfully going to be painting them in the fall, so it won't be as aggressive as like painting them in August. But I do want to be cognizant of keeping all of this safe. There are other tidbits, by the way. If you guys are spray paint guys and it is going to be hot, you can put your cans into a cooler. If you want to check out tents from the Atlanta Tool Bank, they have those available as well. So there are other ways to keep you cool. And of course, that'll be part of the artist orientation that we'll have after selection. So thank you, Elaine. Both good questions. Anything else? Any other questions from y'all? Not the presentation itself, but actually the PDF of the call. So Sharon had asked, did you say the presentation is available in PDF? It is not, but the call itself is available in PDF. And then what we are doing today in this webinar, this is being recorded and this will be available online as well. So this will be on YouTube, I believe is the platform, and shared. So when I had that uncomfortable long pause while I was looking for a file, I will be preserved forever in that, and most likely will not live it down. Any other questions, comments, complaints, queries, concerns? Thank you. Thank you, Becky. Yeah, our calls and opportunities page is a great resource. I'll also share, if any of you have interest in participating in this or serving on a selection panel, being a part of anything else, would really welcome you to submit as part of our selection panel application process. It gets you to be on the other side. Those are non-paying positions. They are volunteer, but we just try to feed you really well. So it's one of those things where we all get together in a room and we just work until we're all done, but it's a lot of fun, believe it or not. So please consider that as well. And Casey, you're very, very welcome. It's great to see your name on the screen. I hope you'll consider Roswell in print as well for another round. So I'll leave it open for any other questions, but otherwise we will call this done at about 40 minutes in. Okay. Well, all thanks so much for joining. You're very, very welcome. Thank you all so much for being a part of this and for learning more about it. Please share it with your colleagues and networks. And of course, here available to answer any and all questions that you might come up with in the day or night. Really excited to kick this off as part of these 5 projects for the city of Roswell. So with that, have a great rest of your day. And if you have any follow-up thoughts, you want to review anything, again, this will be available online on Roswell Arts Fund website and on YouTube as well. So thanks so much. Have a great day.